5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. What's up, guys? We are live. I'm just going to make sure that we are, let's see here, pinning our broadcast. Let's see here. Cool. Hope you guys are good. Hey, we are here to talk about the Kansas City Chokers getting worked by the Eagles. I have a drink that I'm gonna mix a drink. Let's see here. I'm just gonna check my audio here. We're gonna mix a drink here. It's our Super Bowl recap. Here we go. It's pinned. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Jason J. Daniel. I do sports on TikTok. I'm Coach Goat. On X, I am the Goat Targaryen. I do have a little bit of bubbly here. We're gonna mix a drink. I am not a Chiefs fan. You can probably tell. Move my mic here. I'm not necessarily an Eagles fan. I'm just a fan of good football, and I am excited. We're gonna mix our drink here. This is a big shot of cold vodka. Hopefully, you can see how cold that is. Pulled it out of the fridge. I am a fan of good football, and we saw some good football tonight for the first time in a long time. So, cheers! I know some of you are watching me live. We're on YouTube. We are on Rumble. So if you want to jump in the chat, feel free. But cheers to you. Let's have a drink. It tastes good. This is a good drink. This is I'm going to put this here. That's good. A little Amsterdam. Look how frosty that is, guys. That is super frosty. Look at that. We are celebrating a couple of things. Now, I know some of you, well, let me just say we're celebrating one. I feel like the Chiefs are, let me drop my chair here a little bit to get closer to my mic. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for staying in there with me. We're going to celebrate a couple of things. One, we're going to celebrate the NFL is back. The NFL is back. They tried to cheat and they got caught early. The fans didn't let them do it. The fans were on top of it. Everybody in that arena was booing. You were booing. I was booing. Well, if you're a Chiefs fan, you weren't, but you were shocked. Chiefs fans were rocked. They were shocked. They were shocked because they finally had to admit that their team is a shitty team. A Super Bowl team does not do what the Kansas City Chiefs did tonight. No, that's a bad team. And if you had been watching the entire season like I have, you would have known that that was a manufactured season for the Chiefs. The NFL, Roger Goodell, the referees, the Chiefs, everybody was in on it. We all knew about it. You weren't in on it, and I was not in on it. But we suffered through a terrible season. We knew that the Chiefs were going to make it to the Super Bowl, so there was no point in even watching those playoffs. No point. There wasn't any game. And now I know you're probably watching me seething and you're going to send me some hate DMs or whatever. And that's fine if you're a Chiefs fan. But I want you to know that we suffered through a season that was bought and paid for by the NFL to make sure the Chiefs got there. The referees might as well have just had red and white candy stripes and Chiefs logos on their hats because they were bought and paid for. I will never, ever, ever in the 2004/2025 season ever look back and change my opinion or believe that it wasn't rigged. Because we saw the evidence tonight. We saw two things that we knew were true. One, we saw them try to cook it early. Come on. That pass, that huge bomb, well, we'll get to the recap in a second. But that huge bomb in the beginning where the Chiefs had no answer for it. Sure, there was a little bit of tapping, touch and go, okay? There was an incidental hit on the helmet, but that wasn't pass interference. Flag goes up before the play was even done. Everybody goes crazy. Ball goes back. We knew it was rigged. When the Chiefs, so that's the first thing we knew. The crowd went crazy. You went crazy and I went crazy. We knew what we were seeing. So then, fast forward just a little bit, and then the Eagles score. The Chiefs never came back. They looked shocked. They looked like they had not played one. They looked so bad. They looked like they had never played a game in the NFL all year. It looked like a preseason game, like worse than a preseason game. So that was your other evidence, the evidentiary moment or fact that you needed to see. The Chiefs couldn't play against a top tier team like the Eagles. The Eagles are very good. The Chiefs couldn't keep up with them. They couldn't stay on the same field with them. It was a joke. Mahomes throws 2 interceptions right out of the gate and 10 yards passing or something in the first half. They had 14 yards of offense like going into halftime, I think, something like that. 14 or 20 yards. A disgrace. Every other team in the playoffs that the Chiefs had to battle, Texans would have been a better Bills would have been a better game, would have played a better game than the Chiefs played against the Eagles. They would have been more competitive. So what you need to understand is that, one, let's just talk about the chokers. From week 1, they were a terrible team. And you might feel like I'm celebrating, but I'm not celebrating. You'll know when I'm celebrating because I'm going to start celebrating pretty soon. I will celebrate at the end of this because I want to get some points across. If you follow me on TikTok, I am the goat, Coach Goat on TikTok, Real Jason J. Daniel on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, thousands of followers, you have seen all year from the very beginning, I was saying that this was going to happen. I was saying the Chiefs were going to coast through because the NFL was going to fix every game. That's not a 15-1 team or whatever, 17 sorry, not 15. That's not a 17 or 16-2. What was their record? 17-1, whatever what was their record? I think Chiefs record. So let's just go. I want to be accurate because you're going to be judging me. 17-3. Well, counting tonight. So there were 7, counting tonight. Oh, counting playoffs. That was not a team that was worth that record. That team maybe a 5-win team, maybe. Statistically, everyone looked at the stats. Statistically, there's no way a team could run the table like that. It's impossible with those kind of stats. They were pretty much the worst at most, statistically, most anything in the NFL that you measured statistically this year, they were the worst at it. Till the very end when they started to pick it up a little bit. And then their 2 to 3 point wins, completely improbable and impossible. Not counting all the controversial calls that we saw all year. And I know you're tired of talking about it. So good news is I'm not going to talk about it after tonight. And I know that you're flipping around on X or YouTube, you're flipping around on Rumble, and you're probably a Chiefs fan trying to figure out what happened. And I'm going to help you tonight. I have your therapy. I'm your therapist. I'd actually rather be doing other things than talking about the Kansas City Chokers because I don't care about them. I'm not even a Phillies fan. I'm not even an Eagles fan. A Philly fan. I'm not even a Philly fan. I was tonight. The Chiefs were not worthy of being in the Super Bowl. You know it and I know it. You saw it by halftime. This team was pathetic. Pathetic. The worst. I mean, shitty. Mahomes is not the quarterback you think he is. He's gotten help for years. Every time the Bengals gave them a hard time in the last couple of years, there were flags. Playoffs, there were flags. One of the Super Bowls could have been the Philly one. I forget which one it was recently. In the last 3 years, a flag to get them in the end zone. Now, they beat the Niners fair and square, so I'm not going to take that away from them. That was a good win last year. But they played shitty in the first half last year, too. The only issue, the problem for the Niners was they had bad coaches. Now we know. We look at Shanahan this year, and we know that the Niners weren't as good as we thought they were. They got to the Super Bowl, but coaching is what matters. Sirianni, obviously an excellent coach. He has earned it. What are you going to do? So coaching is huge when you get into the postseason, especially in the Super Bowl. So you've got the Chiefs winning with all the help that the NFL has given them. And yes, the Niners were a beatable team and the Chiefs exposed them, but they had a hard time even beating the Niners. This year was a cooked year. If this game, did you notice how lightly officiated this game was? How fairly officiated this game was? Clearly, the message was sent to the referees after the first fix early in the first quarter. The first 3 minutes, clearly the message was sent. We're not fixing this game, guys. Start to lay off the pedal, referees. And they did. They laid off the pedal. They let them play. I have a friend of mine who is an awesome person, and my friend was telling me that they thought that the Chiefs were getting cooked by the refs. Like, ironically, that's what they said to me. And I'm like, fine, you can believe that. I'll have to break down the tape. I didn't necessarily see that. But let's just go. Let's look at the final score here. 40-22. And 14 of those points were garbage points that the Chiefs scored. Or 12 of those points. 6 of those points. I'm sorry. 16 of those points. Garbage points. Garbage points didn't count. The game was over before the Chiefs scored a touchdown, got 6, and couldn't convert the 2. I can't believe how Patrick Mahomes, I mean, I can believe because he's mediocre, but the way he was exposed as not even a top 10 quarterback this year, tonight, how he was exposed, it was jarring to me how the announcers went so easy on him. And even Brady at the end, he's one of the greatest. He even said they have a dynasty. That's fucking bullshit. They don't have a dynasty. A dynasty doesn't do this. Yeah, Brady, when his dynasty, the Patriots, with all of those guns, those weapons they had, when they lost the Super Bowl, it was never like that. And Tom Brady never played that bad. Disgusting. Mahomes was so disgusting tonight. If I was a Chiefs fan, well, first of all, it's all his fault. And the defense. Mahomes and the defense. If you don't got a quarterback that can throw the ball, and if you don't have a defense that can stop the pass, you're losing. So I would blame Mahomes and the defense. You can't get rid of Mahomes, unfortunately, so you can retool the defense. But there's no excuses other than the fact that this was the team that we knew they were the entire time. We knew they were chokers the entire time, guys. We knew they weren't good. We knew this was rigged. We knew it was fixed. I knew it would be exposed in the Super Bowl. Now, I thought they'd play much better. Who would have expected, who could have predicted that they would have scored no points in pretty much 2 quarters? Not even a kick. Nobody would have expected that. All the stats that you see are all garbage stats. That does not tell the story of the game. Doesn't tell the story of the game. The one thing I can tell you, though, after this, is my trust in the NFL has absolutely been restored. It absolutely has. Because I was done with the NFL probably around week 8 when I saw what they were doing with the Chiefs. There was no way you could play fantasy with the way that in any game the Chiefs were in because the stats were completely cooked. No other team got what the Chiefs got. You could totally bet on the Chiefs to win all year. Think about that. Think about that. You could have put thousands of dollars on the Chiefs all year and you would have made a ton of money. Now, their lines weren't that strong. I mean, obviously you weren't going to make a lot of money because they were favored heavily most of the year, but it was just cooked. We knew it was cooked the entire time. And I don't have a guest on here tonight. And that's okay because I kind of just wanted to talk. I kind of just wanted to get it out of my system. All year, I told everybody I knew this is what was going to happen. We would be in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Now, I actually thought the Lions were going to play the Chiefs. I didn't know the Eagles were going to come out and work the Chiefs. I'm sorry, work their way through the playoffs. But when they beat Washington and dropped 55 on them, I knew this was potentially a possibility tonight. And I even predicted if the game was going to be officiated correctly and fairly, then it was going to be a blowout. My words were Eagles win big. And I even said blowout later on when I was talking about with other people. I knew Eagles were going to win big because they were so good and the Chiefs were so bad. There was no match. See, a lot of people thought it was going to be the other way around. They thought the Chiefs were going to be the ones that beat down the Eagles. The only folks that thought that were Chiefs fans that just are myopic and really didn't want to admit the fact that their team got helped the entire time. So when the NFL tried to cook this game tonight, I know for a fact, just in my heart, know for a fact that somebody told those refs, chill out on that shit. Because right away, everybody was booing, everybody was flipping out when a pass interference, when they had a deep pass that pretty much put them in the end zone almost. Call back. We knew it. And that's the MO of the NFL. Pass interference, if you look at the rule book, is left up to the officials' discretion. That's why pass interference calls are never re-reviewed by the NFL later on, and they'll never tell you they missed it, because if you read the rule book, it allows for them to make their own judgment call. But there are specific things that are clearly pass interference. What happened? And the truth is, let me just take a step back. How many times do you see offensive pass interference? Not as much as you see defensive, right? So they knew they were ready to do it. And sure enough, a flag, pass interference, offensive pass. It was just so pretty much rare to get in that situation. When your wide receiver has 3 steps on his defender, how do you call offensive pass interference on the guy when he's not even he was incidentally moving his arms to gain some sort of distance, right? There's a balance and keep his balance in while he's running. Because have you ever ran that fast? No, you haven't. You have no idea what it takes to keep your balance when running that fast, looking up and doing all this stuff. That was incidental. That wasn't even contact that moved. When it brushed, we didn't even see an angle that actually showed there was contact on the helmet or on the face mask. It did not move the defender at all. And they go ahead and give him a a PI for offensive. Crazy. But after that, that's the last you saw that shit because the crowd went crazy. We knew the fix was in right away. And then the Chiefs got booed. The Chiefs knew what happened, and they fell apart. There was no excuse for Travis Kelce to disappear. No excuse. There was no excuse for Chris Jones to disappear. No excuse. There was no excuse for 6 or 7 sacks or whatever it was. No excuse for them to give that many sacks up. And there was no excuse for a guy who you say is the GOAT, who's going to get a 3-peat, who's going to be the best. It's just sick to me, man. Pathetic. You guys don't watch football. You haven't watched it for years. You watched it for 3 years, and you're brainwashed. The NFL has poisoned your mind to make you believe this is the new Tom Brady. He's not the new Tom Brady. You're fucking crazy. Your mind is poisoned. Your mind is poisoned by the mind virus of the NFL. What the NFL does is they collude with all of these stupid, corrupt sports news organizations. I know, I'm that guy. I'm going there. I'm going conspiracy theory. I'm going there. They conspire with them, and all they do is cover up when there's a cheat on live TV, 4K. We watch it with our own eyes. They cover it up and say it wasn't a cheat. It wasn't a fake flag when we saw it all year. And then even Tom Brady says, he's got to say it, of course. Mahomes is still a GOAT. They still have a dynasty. They don't have a dynasty. Give me a break, man. Fucking dynasty? You don't play like that and say they have a dynasty. Look, you're going to disagree with me because you're a Chiefs fan, but I want you to know, where is your standard of excellence? What is good football? Let's talk about competition. Let's talk about good football, man. So are you going to say that's a good team Let's look at your team. See, smart Chiefs fans will look at this team and say, this is disgusting. Something has to change. You got to revamp this entire team. Something has to give. That's easy. That's easy math for a legitimate fan that knows how football works. But for all of these fans that worship Mahomes and worship the Chiefs, it's pathetic. Chiefs fans, I love you, but I'm going to give you some tough love, man. You have ruined the NFL this year for all of us. The Taylor Swift stuff last year was too much. Look, I like Taylor's music. I don't got a problem with it. I karaoke Taylor Swift. My family loves Taylor, but she's not a football player. She's not a sports person. And we knew that the NFL was doing their best to create new fans, and they actually did. So hats off. But I put it aside and said, it's all good. It's good for the game. More eyeballs, cool. But that was too much. And you notice this year they tuned it down because you can't do both. You can't start cheating and then jam Taylor Swift in people's faces, or try to jam in people's faces the fact that you're turning it into WWE entertainment, which is whatever. It's fine. I'm an old school guy. I get it. I'm a traditional guy. I know there are certain fans that are younger than me that don't care what I think. You don't respect the game. You don't understand it. But I'm serious about the game. I've been a fan for years. I'm not even going to say the amount of years. I've been an NFL fan. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on tickets and merchandise. I've supported the league. But what I have seen the last 2 years has just been disgusting. I won't even talk about the Bears' number one draft pick, who was a joke. Like, this is all a joke, man. This is a joke. This has been a crazy experiment this year, an absolute joke. But what I like is that my trust in the NFL has been restored because they corrected the ship tonight. They told the refs, back off, let them play. We actually saw them play it out. And for those of you, let me just stop. For those of you who think that all the flags went against the Chiefs, most definitely the Chiefs got highly penalized. Cool. And when you saw them get a few holding calls, what happened? They actually had to defend on the line fair and square without the old choke, right? Or the old pull, right? The old inside jersey pull. You didn't see that. They couldn't do that. They had to play fair. And as soon as they started to get a few flags and realized we can't do the old shenanigans, the floodgates opened. It was a fucking jailbreak, and they couldn't stop anybody. And Mahomes knew he was going to get smashed. And at the very end, did you love? Philly did what they should have done, and I knew they needed to do it. I was all for just hit them. If you're going to get the flag, just fucking hit them. Just hit them. Hit them hard. And they did. And the KC Chokers were who we thought they were. If you didn't think that they were this team the entire year, you need to check yourself. You need to take a look at, do I really want to watch football, or do I want to watch WWE? Nothing wrong with that. And I was actually resigned to this fact. I was like, you know what? This is WWE now. So next year when I play fantasy, when I make my picks, I stopped picking games this year because I'm not picking. I knew it was impossible after week 8 to pick a game that was fair. And we also saw it through other games as well. We knew what the NFL was orchestrating. They knew what they were doing, but they got busted. The buzz, you cannot tell me that the buzz on the cheating, which was so substantial, it was everywhere. Everybody talked about it. I saw Bill Maher on HBO talk about it. Politicians were talking about it. CBS News, Fox News, NBC, comedians are joking about it. It was all over podcasts. For 2 weeks, everybody talked about the cookout. The Chiefs had been cooking. The NFL and the Chiefs had been cooking things. So look, going back to the flags, if you think that the Chiefs got too many flags and blah, 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 that had nothing to do with Mahomes throwing 2 interceptions in the first half, dude. 2 bad interceptions that killed his team. Take away those interceptions, Chiefs are in the game. So I just submit this to you, to those of you who think the refs were pulling flags against the Chiefs, which makes no sense, but I'll just give you this. let's say that was true and they were trying to help the Eagles and pulling flags against the Chiefs or throwing flags. This is what I submit to you. It didn't matter because in a 40-point beatdown, flags didn't matter. There weren't enough flags to create that beatdown. They lost by 18 points, guys. And most of those points didn't get scored until the game was out of reach. Imagine that. So I just want you to know the Chiefs had no opportunities to win because they didn't play football. They didn't show up. They disappeared, man. Mahomes' stats, his stats in the first half are all you need to look at. They should really start doing, and they actually do this when you go to the sports book. They do a first half stats and a second half stats. You can actually bet on the first half of a game and a second. Gamblers know this. They should start doing that. They should start doing second half stats and first half stats, first and second. So, because that really tells the story. Because you take Mahomes' stats from the second half and you merge them to his stats in the first half, and it doesn't tell you the true story. You go, oh, he had a reasonable game. He had a terrible game. He was the reason that team lost. And Travis Kelce was the reason that team lost. He couldn't get open. He disappeared. This guy that everybody was saying he's a great tight end, the best tight. Bullshit, dude. Bullshit. Good tight ends don't disappear in the Super Bowl. So look, I know he has 3 rings or whatever, and I know that Mahomes and Kelsey's got 3 or whatever. I know Mahomes is on that list of guys that have repeat Super Bowls, and it's a rare list. I'll give him that, but you don't lose like that and keep your credibility on that list. I'm sorry. Now, 10 years, 20 years from now, you'll look at the list and you'll go, he's one of the top quarterbacks to ever play in a Super Bowl. Cool. And his career is obviously not over. He'll have another year to retool and come back at it. There you go. Another cheers to you. Oh. He'll have another, year to tool it up and come back at it. But you're not going back to the Super Bowl next year. Not happening. I'll tell you why. Here's the reasons why you're not getting to the Super Bowl again, Kansas City Chokers. One, the NFL is going to be hard on you next year. This was just the tip of the iceberg because the NFL was taking serious heat. They're not doing that. And I'll tell you this, with the new administration, they're investigating everything. Trump banned paper straws and banned pennies. Donald Trump banned pennies, like not J.C. Penney's, fucking the penny. Is it Lincoln on the penny? The fucking copper penny that we use that they print. He fucking banned it during the Super Bowl, during halftime or some shit. So the NFL is probably thinking, hey, we could be investigated. And a lot of people were calling for an investigation. Don't think that Roger Goodell was not taking that seriously. The NBA 20 years ago, like 18 years ago, went through a ref scandal. And one ref went to prison for it. They were fixing games for the mob. And the FBI started investigating, and they had a huge investigation open. There's a documentary on Netflix. You got to watch it. I think that cat that went to prison, Tim Donaghy, he wrote a book. It was getting so, even announcers were actually getting pulled into it, like people calling games. The media was getting pulled into it. It was getting so edgy that the NBA basically threw Donaghy to the wolves and said, prosecute him. And the FBI agreed to shut down the investigation. Don't tell me investigation talk didn't have something to do with what happened tonight with the refs. Because, yeah, Kansas City fans, you might have a point that the flags were a little bit lopsided. You might have a point. And I'm just saying, it's bigger than you might even realize. Trust me, with all the shit that's gone down in 20 days with the new administration, they're investigating everything, dude. And they're not going to stop investigating anything that people want. This is a populist administration. I'm not going to get into politics or reasonings, but I'm just saying, if you're Roger Goodell and the NFL is making all this money, Did you see? Let me just backtrack. Did you see they're gonna, what is it? Trump even signed some executive order saying that, I'm sorry, not executive order, but they're saying they're going to try to take tax breaks away from billionaire owners and sports teams. Did you see that? That was news. They said they're going to eliminate tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. They were already starting to dig into, and that's NFL, what sports team owners are billionaires at that level that they would get tax breaks. NFL. The NFL is the one that does the most stuff with the government and charity. They get huge tax breaks. The NFL was getting Trump was going to start to investigate the NFL, and you knew it was this close. And if the Super Bowl had been another rigged game, and the outcry would have been insanity. Even if the Chiefs had won fair and square without extra flags, let's just say, still would have been an outcry. People like me would have still said, yeah, but they cheated the entire year, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there was enough of a populist outcry that I think Goodell felt the pressure. Who knows what was going on behind the scenes? Who knows? All I know is you might have a point, Chiefs fans, but you brought it on yourselves. This team brought it on themselves by basically allowing themselves to be put in that situation. I mean, maybe that's a bad way to look at it. Maybe they had no control. I'm just saying there was going to be an investigation. And so my point is, where I'm going with this is, that's why next year you're going to have a hard year. Let me prophesy it to you. You're going to have a tough year where you're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think you'll make the playoffs. Look what happened to the Niners. They had a stacked team. I know you're thinking I'm crazy, but I'm putting this on video right now. I'm streaming this. Let's see if anybody's in the chat. Call me names. Let's see here. No, nobody's calling me names yet. All the East Coast people are asleep, or all the Philly fans are jumping on the grease poles and attacking cops. It's getting crazy. Let me jump back to So I'll wrap up right now. Guys, thanks for watching. Well, basically, look, you're gonna have a tough year, and I predict you won't make the playoffs. One, because I don't see. I thought Kelsey was gonna retire. He might, because of all his Hollywood stuff and the whole Taylor thing, and he's getting older, and it's tough to make that commitment to get that level. And if you take a hit, look, a hit like this is a psychological hit. You're starting from the bottom. You're not just starting over next year, dudes. You're starting from the bottom because you got worked like a puppet. Like, it was humiliating. So everyone's going to talk about that Super Bowl beatdown, and you're not going to get help from the refs, and everyone's going to see you're vulnerable. And this film is going to be studied by every team that the Chiefs play. You watch, their schedule is going to be tougher because their division is getting tougher. That whole conference, everything's getting tougher, and they're not going to get the breaks that they got this year. And you tell me who's coming back, right? You tell me. And you tell me if Chris Jones is going to get you. You tell me what he's going to. I mean, he got dinged up. You tell me. It's a whole nother year. It's a very humbling thing. And these guys folded when they got booed. These guys don't come back. They're not resilient players, guys. You think they are. They're not resilient. A resilient team does not take this kind of shellacking, man, in front of the world. They've been humbled. So my trust in the NFL has been restored. I'm very happy about that. I'm excited about training camp already. I'm excited. I think I might be a Philly fan. I don't know. I'm just excited that they killed this whole three-peat bullshit. And they really proved that the Chokers were the team we thought they were. They're a terrible team from week one, and we knew it. They're baby if they were maybe a 4 to 5 win team, and the reality of it, they should have never been in the Super Bowl. And a lot of people were really disappointed to see another retread team with everybody talking about Mahomes is this great. He's the greatest. He's the. But see, you didn't hear it this year because his stats were shit. His stats were trash. Speaking of that, in the first half, what was his passer rating was 52% in the first, disgusting. Number one, disgusting for a quarterback in the NFL. Number two, disgusting for a starter, and disgusting for a guy in the Super Bowl, and disgusting for a guy that gets all that publicity and all that hype. So look, I think he's a good person. I don't have a problem with him as a human being. There's a lot of bad people in the NFL, a lot of bad players in the NBA, a lot of bad sports players, sports stars. He's not one of them. I give Mahomes props. But I do think that this was a very good thing for the NFL for the Chiefs to get humbled because they just didn't deserve to be there. Look, if they had been playing like Wizards, look, if they had been playing like the Eagles had played all year, Eagles got no credit. The Eagles played like the Chiefs. The Eagles played like champions the entire year, and they got no credit. And this was an abomination. This whole year was an abomination for the NFL because they propped up a phony team and they put down a team that really should have been elevated. They should have been elevating and really taking the Philadelphia Eagles seriously, and they didn't. So there you go. So, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you had a good time talking, listening to me talk. If you're an Eagles fan, you're gonna love. You'll love what I said tonight. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're gonna hate me. Look, Chiefs fans hate me already. My TikToks tonight, I did like 7 or 8 of them because I couldn't help myself. They're already going viral, and they're in the tens of thousands, not tens of thousands. I'm sorry, they're in the thousands. Like okay, maybe like 50,000. Yeah, all my TikToks, maybe 30 to 50,000 views already. And my TikToks on the Chiefs, people hate me. Chiefs fans hate me because I'm honest. I'm honest. Look, if the Chiefs had played fair and square all year, I'd be saying hats off to the Chiefs. I'd give them their props. And there was maybe 2 games where they didn't get a lot of cheating and they played well. Look, they beat the Bills. The Bills had a chance. Look, that Bills game was cooked in the playoffs. These playoffs, the Bills game was cooked, and the Bills had tons of opportunities. So I didn't really hold that against the Chiefs. If you follow my podcast, hit me in the bio there. If you follow my podcast, I was not holding that against the Chiefs. And I said, okay, here we go. Look, they played pretty solid. Let's see what they do in a neutral territory, in a dome, without a running game like the Eagles had, and against a really good quarterback who's better. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Mahomes. And here's the kicker. He's got a ring now, motherfucker. So don't sit around and say he's not better than don't tell me he's not well, look, he's the best quarterback this year, hands down. Best quarterback in the NFL this year, Jalen Hurts. And you knew last year he was going to come back, and he went down fighting last year. He just didn't have a running game. He didn't have the personnel. Saquon Barkley didn't have a huge game, but what he was the threat the Chiefs had to plan for. And they shut his game down, sure, but they didn't shut Hurts down. They couldn't shut him down. They were the weapon of the future. This team is a team of the future, the Eagles, and I can see them going back to the big dance. They got to get through the Lions, but I can see them doing it again. They got to get through the Commanders. It's not going to be easy, but what's going to be exciting is to see it happen. And so my faith in the NFL has been restored. It really has, because I really I would have been very disappointed to have the Chiefs get the three-peat. One, because we wouldn't have heard the end of it, which to me is a joke. It's a joke. And it's not it's a joke, and it's not going to happen for years now because they failed. So it would be probably 2 more. It's going to be 3 more years. Well, 2 more years if the Eagles go back to back to back. It would be, and it would be in another couple of years. So it's going to be time before anyone can talk about that again. So let's move past it. We need to move past the awards, move past stats, and let's get into winning games. Let's get into legitimate competition. Let's make the NFL great again. I said it. Let's make the NFL great again. Let's demand excellence. And how do we do that as fans? We demand excellence. We say we're not going to put up with referees that aren't full-time referees. That's a thing we should talk about. These referees should be held to a standard. They should be held to a truth standard. They should fill out forms under oath. They should have some sort of a legal process where referees, their finances are looked at. We make sure they're not gambling. I know there are certain safeguards in place, but we don't know what they are. There's too much. It's too secretive. The referees need to speak to the media. We need a press conference after every game. We need that. Why are the referees so powerful? We did learn this year they are way too fucking powerful. The referees have too much fucking power. They jerk the NFL around. They jerk the fans around. And you saw what they did this year. They fixed the league. They fixed the year. They fixed the Kansas City Chiefs season because this team was not a team that deserved to be in the Super Bowl. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that, but I'll tell it to you again. The referees need to be held accountable to a standard that is way beyond the standard they're being held accountable to now. They should be criticized like players are criticized. Players should come out and say these refs are fucking cheating. They should be able to say that. Why are they fined when they speak the truth? See, we got to get past that shit. If you guys want to be WWE and make all of our money, then you should be held accountable to a standard of excellence that gives us the best competitive product available. We're not getting that now. What we're getting is a bunch of lies, a bunch of phoniness, and a bunch of gambling fixes. We're getting points shaved. We're getting statistical anomalies that are improbable and impossible. The statistical anomalies that the Chiefs had all throughout the year were impossible, guys. Improbable. Not able to happen. That means fixed and phony and fixed, and we saw it. We saw it over and over. So the referees need to be held accountable. That's all I'm saying. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about that because I was almost going to throw in the towel and never watch NFL. Look, if the Chiefs, I got to tell you this, I was about to do this. I'm serious. I was going to throw in the towel and say, I'm never watching the NFL again. I'm not talking about it because it's phony. It's fixed. If the Chiefs had won by 3 points after a bunch of fixed flags, if they had won like the Bills game, I was going to say, I'm done. Like the Texans game, I was going to say, there's so many examples that we can go back. How about the Atlanta game? What was it, week 4 or 5? PI in the end zone? Bullshit. So many fixed opportunities, so many opportunities to talk about questionable calls. Even if you don't agree with me and you think all the games are clean, you could still have a tough debate to debate every one of those phony flags that gave them those close wins. I'm just saying, let's be honest. Let's look at the truth. We're watching it in 4K every weekend. We're spending our time. Look, we're spending 8 hours a weekend watching NFL. There's so many games. Thursday, you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday games sometimes. You've got all these games on freaking Sunday, and then you got Monday night. Most of the week is dedicated to football, man. We're losing our lives here. We're sacrificing our families. We're giving all to this league, and all they did was fix the games to get the team in the Super Bowl so they could have a narrative, and then they could get $1 trillion of merchandise sold on a three-peat. Three-peat on everything. Three-peat. Well, I'm done talking about it, and I'm so glad this is the last time I have to mention three-peat. I was going to wrap this show up, but I started ranting about the refs. I'm done with refs, man. I'm done with phony refs. I'm fucking done with it. I'm done with it. And so should you be. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'm done, man. I'm gonna get back to my night. Watch a little sci-fi or some shit. I love TV. As you know, I'm an actor. So follow me on X. If you haven't followed me, I appreciate it. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Subscribe to me on Rumble. I'd really appreciate that. Great news. I'm about to open up my Kick stream, and I know my Kick stream, like I know what I'm talking about. My Twitch stream. I'm doing big things, and I'm feeling good about taking this podcast to the next level. For those of you that have watched more than one episode, thank you. For those of you that have joined my podcast as a guest, thank you. I talk about sports, politics, human behavior. I'm chasing a lot of interviews, guys. I'm chasing some really interesting people. And I'm excited because now that football's over, we're going to be talking about WNBA. I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun. I'm chasing, guys, great interviews. And I really want to make this show worth my time and your time. So thanks for watching. And there you go, guys. Have a great one. Thank you for watching the Jason J. Daniels Show. And look, go Eagles. I congratulate. I barely talked about the Eagles. Congratulations to the Eagles. Congratulations to Eagles fans. I got some Eagles fans. They're my favorite people. You guys deserved it. You guys, I didn't believe in the Eagles. You kept telling me I was wrong. You guys were fighting me. You guys were mean to me about it. You guys were tough, but you guys prevailed. So congratulations. And look, to the Chiefs fans, I'm sorry that you had to take a very terrible loss. It's a humbling loss. This is the worst thing that you guys had, other than Mahomes getting hurt or Kelsey or somebody getting a terrible injury, which nobody wants that. But what you guys got was a serious ass kicking and a humbling. You got beat down, and it's gonna hurt you all year. It's gonna hurt all year, and you're not gonna get a good draft pick. You're in a lot of trouble here. You have to work the free agency market, and the league's against you. A lot of fans are against you. I feel for you, but hang in there. If you're a real fan, you're going to hang in there and you're going to support your team. The good news is they'll be stronger from this. You're not going to make the playoffs next year, but you're going to come back with a better product. And who knows what's going to happen in the year after that. But you need to fasten your seatbelt because you're not going to be in the Super Bowl. But my heart goes out to you. But a lot of you fans deserve it because you guys are incorrigible. You guys have not been cool about it. You guys have not accepted the fact that there's been cheating. You've been douchebags about it, and you got humbled. It's cool. That's the way it goes. That's sports. That's why we watch it. That's why we love it. That's why we talk about it. That's why sports are so special. Nights like this are why we love sports. And that's all I'll say. And thanks for watching, guys. And I also want you to know that this show, Have a Great Night, is brought to you by Hollywood Zombie Productions. You guys are the greatest. Thank you for watching. I love you. See you on the flip side.